All right, hello everybody, and listen, we have a very esteemed guest and a very soon-to-be friend of mine. Uh, I really appreciate you guys coming on. His name is Brother Asir, and when I tell you, he is loaded with a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of this world in which we live in, which we live in, and the idea behind everything he says has been labeled a conspiracy theory that has proven to be true. So I really want to thank you, brothers Asir, for coming on, the
Thank you.
Duke of Tears, and if you can, just give us a little bit of background about you, and and whatever else or pieces of information about you that you think is relevant that people need to hear.
Thank you first for having me on, brother, and peace to everybody in the audience. Um, um, I've been doing this for about maybe 25 years now. And I started back in New York, back in Brooklyn. And by this, I mean accumulating enough information, enough knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to help kind of discern and give our people back their proper identity as well as the proper place that they have not only in this country but in the world. Because when I was growing up, I was taught that we were all brought over here as slaves from Africa, and we were always the victim of somebody else's culture or somebody else's might or power. And I never really conscribed to that. I never really saw that as being true. I always saw that as a somewhat of a cop out or a means to keep us disenfranchised from who and what we naturally are. Because what I was seeing was that everything that was motivating and moving the culture seemed to revolve around what we were doing or what we as melanated people in this country were motivating people throughout the world to be about. Um, our people, as far as I've been understanding and researching, have basically created most industries in the world, most industries in the country. And we were not brought over, we were not so much enslaved more than we were prisoners of war. And once I
Yeah,
started
that's it.
on what the war was about, I started to realize that for as long as the United States Corporation has been in existence, which is about 226 years,
Right.
they've only not been at war with us for about 20 of those years. So in that, when we talk about the so-called Barbary Wars, the French Indian Wars, the Confederacy Wars, the Spanish American Wars, the Revolutionary War, all of these wars were wars against us and our people as they were striving to remake or reshape this world in the image of foreigners. And unfortunately, a lot of people that look like us that were born here actually helped them do it.
Yeah.
And once I realized that the proverbial they, are still here, you know what I mean, doing the same thing uh, since 1492, I realized that we, in some instances, were not enslaved by other people more than we fell into conflict and were put into conflicts with one another, in which then other people benefited from that disharmony and disunity, which then led to a lot of us selling out and going into other nations and referring to ourselves as other things. So my whole thing was to always go and find out the root of this disharmony and this disunification. And I found out that a lot of this took place around the same time that the empire known as the Greater Moorish Empire fell. And as it fell, it went into different reorganizations throughout time. And as we move further into the time we are now, it still exists. We're still in it. We just are not in our proper person, so we can't fully benefit from uh, from the glory that is still there for us to inherit. And so my job has been basically to put out enough information over the years to help consolidate that, to help people understand that, you know, you're more than Negro, black, colored, that you were never somebody else's property more so than somebody annexed your birthright and annexed it to their corporate property, and it made you think that you were somehow inferior to them when it's the exact opposite.
All right. Okay. Well, listen, we're going to cut short into the intro, and we'll be right back. Just hold on.
Okay.
All right, we are back with the esteemed guest, man. I am truly feeling hype, man. I really don't know.
Peace, bro.
Look, I told Nay, man. Look, I said, man, we got our boy on here, man. We got him. Yeah, and look, I am beyond happy, man, as you might be able to
I really
tell.
appreciate it. I really
But
appreciate it.
look, I hope this is not the first time, and this is not the first time, and not the only time.
Oh, no.
So that you come on. So I'm looking forward to establishing that with you and really letting people know. I mean, you are already known in the Black Conscious movement, but I think in the greater whole of it, especially against the grain of white supremacy, which is what we're going to talk about in a minute, that they are, excuse me, because I'm coming down with a cold. They are deaf, man. With CRT and DEI and all of this, and
Yeah.
you know what? What I am getting and what I tried to talk about last night is that I don't know if you had the opportunity to look at that video with Chris Hedges.
Yeah.
He spelled it out.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing but a game.
Yeah.
And
white supremacy just rebranded with black people face on it.
Right. Well, would you know, I come to the conclusion, more or less, because I'm still open-minded, that white supremacy is an over reaction to black oppression.
Yeah. It's in my observation, what we perceive as white supremacy is a leftover product of denationalization. And it's also a admixture of occult practices, social engineering, and a means of constantly getting people to feel like the place that they're born is not where they're from.
Right.
And it's being practiced mostly, unfortunately, by people that look like us, because this thing, we existed before everybody existed. You understand? So
right.
this harmony that we have amongst each other, whether it be colorism, whether it be classism, whether it be self-hate, you know what I mean? All of these things are just exploited and used by the so-called enemy to create a vacuum by which we feel we can never get out. And whether it's diversity, equity, inclusion, economic, social governance, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same lie. It's a way to make people believe that who and what they are is not enough. So the same way they're doing that to melanated people is the same way they're doing that for white people. You understand what I'm saying? Or the people who refer to themselves as white or are referred to as white. They give them a false sense of superiority. They give us a false sense of inferiority. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't really care what color you are. They just want to use color as a means to control. Like if we were in the United States, it's about color. That's the white supremacy vacuum of color. In certain places in Europa, white supremacy takes on the form of classism. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
In China, white supremacy is social credit score systems. You see what I'm saying? In South America, the so-called Caribbean, you know what I'm saying? It's more, it takes on the vein of tribalism, because you have so-called melanated people who are running the government, who will give subsidies to places like China, places like, you know what I'm saying, Russia, these types of places. Whereas their own people who is there every day, they kind of like make it like they're a problem. So you have people in Africa, for instance. Africa spends over about of their national GDP of each African country that has the so-called legal system that's based on the colonial system. They spend at least 23 million to 35 million dollars just on wigs that they import from Europe, that's made from horses. You understand what I'm saying? Just so that way they can put them on their head and go into their legal system and act like they are giving them African justice, and y'all basically are just doing the same thing. Like, you're doing the same thing they left y'all in a position to do. And unfortunately, this is a mental illness that has been spread all over the world that persists due to the idea that nobody wants to see real melanated people come into their own without any sort of pushback, you know what I'm saying, from somebody else, because they need us way more than we need them. So what they've done is they've made us think the opposite. They made us think that we can't exist without them, when it's really the reverse. So as much as white supremacy, or what they refer to as white supremacy, is there to separate and gerrymander and redline and all these different things, they need us to survive. However, we have proven ourselves for the fact that we could not have nothing and still find a way to create a vibrant economy out of nothing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Once that economy becomes self-sufficient in buying, that's when they want to come back and buy it up. But once they come back and buy it up, it's no longer a commodity anymore, because it's no longer with us involved. So they have to put their face on it, or get some buck dancers that look like us to come and do so. You see, that's why you have all of these British and so-called African actors coming over here and making movies where they act like so-called Black American slaves and all of that, because it didn't even happen like that. But they also have a vested interest in making themselves feel superior like us. Like they want to have the running joke that the reason why we look the way we look and we don't look like Africans is because all of our ancestors, all of our great grandmothers and grandfathers was raped by white people. However, if we was to really look at the actual genetics, how genetically, you see what I'm saying, that is impossible, because we as melanated people have the dominant gene. We also don't have what's called the RS. We are all basically RH negative, which means that we don't have any rhesus monkey in us, which means that we have the ability to produce us with anybody else that we tend to be with, whereas they can only produce one of them with each other. So that shows you that genetically, not only are we different, but we have a gene or a fire within us that is somewhat immortal, that has to be broke down through our mental, so that way we don't truly access that aspect of ourselves. You understand? So they'd rather people impersonate us than us be ourselves, and that's the whole thing, you know. So whether it be our sisters that will literally shave their heads, shave their own natural hair off, to then put glue on and put fake hair on, you see what I'm saying? Or whether it's our other sisters that would, or brothers that will put get bleaching cream to make themselves seem lighter. Meanwhile, melanin itself is about $3.83, 84 cents a gram, which is more than gold, which is more than palladium, which is more than silver, which is more than platinum. You understand?
Combined.
So, you know, we're playing ourselves. Each one of us that's walking around here with this in our skin is basically a millionaire. If we could find a way to monetize that amongst ourselves and share it amongst ourselves, then we would really create a whole nother situation in terms of economic viability. which is why they want us to constantly believe that white people are better and we have to do what white folks say and all of this crazy shit when these people are not even white.
Right there it is. There it is. There it is. Well, listen, man. You mentioned disunity, and I've been saying this for I don't know how long, as long as I can. Espérate, estoy hablando haciendo mi show. Escúchame. Ahí quizás los niños son fuertes. But listen, you mentioned a key word, disunity. There's an old African proverb that says, "When two brothers fight, the stranger in the middle gets the key to the house or
Right.
to the treasure." And I've been saying this, I'm preaching that, and saying it over and over and over again. White folk can't fight. Look what's going on in Palestine.
Exactly.
The nation state of Israel and these so-called white Jews who are not real Jews have
Yep.
the best of the best of the best weapons
Yep.
and technology and
Yep.
mapping equipment. They still getting their ass whooped.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know what I mean? So the idea is that once we realize that we are the parents of all of humanity, we
Yep.
take on a whole different mindset.
That's right.
And when you have the correct history
Right.
within you, and you
Right.
can be able to see from where we are at the moment and where we were when we were building civilization. And
Right.
that every civilization, brother Assyria, and like you know, was created by black people because we were the
Right.
only ones on the planet.
That's right.
These so-called children of ours, and I stated this too, you might want to add a little bit more, take a little bit off. But these so-called pale-skinned people that we call white today
Mhm.
come from Dravidian albino that made it with normal black people. And those ancestors of ours put these rat tail growing people in
Yep.
Central Asia. And
Yep.
what happened was that they made some kind of a deal. I don't know what happened and what caused it.
Yep.
That they made some kind of a deal with the Turks and they broke past the Persian Wall,
Yep.
a barrier, and broke into our that would be the Eastern Kingdom, right? Or the
Yep.
West, or going back, going back east. So you have the papacy that was in France. I'm saying that was in Italy. That gets pushed into France. You have all of these wars: the 30-year war, the 10 year war, the French Revolution, all of that. These were race wars without kids, if I can say
Yep.
it in that manner, right?
Yep.
So, with that in mind, please expand on it or add a little bit more sauce or salsa or pepper or salt or whatever the case. They really amplify it and bring it forward to the present moment. Because to be honest, this is one of the things I wanted to discuss tonight. Is that I kind of I want to make sure I use my words correctly. I don't. Yeah, let me say that. I don't want to sound like I'm losing hope. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because a couple of years ago, you talk about when Trump lost, and that was a rigged election because there's nowhere in the
Yep.
world that man can make 80 million votes and
Exactly.
76 million. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And my thing is that with this global elite that is happening, brother Asir,
Mhm.
there is absolutely no way, no how that if I was President Trump, as is indicated that he's still the president, he's the
Mhm.
19th president of the United States, there's nowhere in the world I would allow people in Fauci and Bill Gates and all these people
Mhm.
to do what they're doing, killing tens of millions of people by forcing people through scare tactics, I guess, through fear,
Yep. Yep.
to take
Propaganda.
to take the juice. I don't want
Mhm.
to say it that the VACCINE.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you can, please expound on that a little bit.
The only way that they're able to maintain this decaying system is
Go ahead.
through.
I'm gonna step out.
The only way that they're able to maintain this decaying system is through blackmail, treachery, lies, and deceit. So these guys are part of the decaying old Roman Empire, and the original Roman Empire started out with original people, Justinian, Constantine, the Council of Nicaea. All of those is melanated people. So they got us thinking all of this stuff was white and Arab and all of that after Reconstruction. The only reason why the world looked the way it looked is due to what happened post Reconstruction. Prior to
Yes, yes,
Reconstruction,
yes.
everybody was melanated. You could go back and read the writings of Benjamin Franklin, and he'll tell you that. He'll tell you that the Swedish, the Netherlands, the Denmark, Europe, Asia, Germany, France, all of those was melanated people, what he referred to as Palatine Moors. And so these things that we're dealing with now are a hybridized version of beasts like people called the woodwolves and another people,
Yes, yes.
yeah, and another people called the Neanderthal, right?
Right.
And so because they were upgraded genetically by people that look like us, they were then used as beasts of burden and engines of war against people like us because there were more positive and more noble people in the world with noble views and noble cultures and stuff that wanted to rule properly. However, just like you have somebody in your family that's cool, but then they kind of wicked, it wasn't enough of them. So they had to bolster their numbers. So they had to genetically modify these people to help bring them into the so-called human family
Damn, there it is. There it is.
to then make it a tacit relationship where we would have to take responsibility for them because genetically they had some of us in it. That's why you have so many Caucasian people today who look so different from when we were children. Like you got them born today, they got rhythm, they rapping, they basically identify more with us a lot more so than their own type of people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you have the reverse with us. You have a lot of us that relate more with them than with their own people. So what you have is a crossing or a crossover effect. The term crossover in ancient terms, where you get the word Hebrew from. Those who cross over, whether they crossed the genetics, whether they crossed over to the River Jordan, whether they crossed over in terms of their identity, their intellect. And so this type of self-delusion, self-hatred has metastasized to the point that you can now get people to be more about disunity than unity. And it's not because they are more errant to be wrong because of what's happened. It's the fact that we've all been infected by this disease of ignorance that has festered to the point of idiocracy, where now you have whole swashes of our community that want to identify with something that they have never experienced. Like no people that we know has ever gone through so-called slavery. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
None of us, when we were growing up, especially when I was growing up, and I grew up in the heart of the ghetto, Brooklyn, all that. Nobody was ever taught that they were brought over slaves from Africa. All of that stuff started with the propaganda that was laid out by people like Alex Haley, who was put up by a Jewish man named Levinson, who was also cousins to the dude that used to write Michael Luther King, aka Martin Luther King speeches, Stephen Levinson. And that was a plagiarized story of another brother from the continent of Africa called the African. And it was proven that roots never happened. It was proven that these things didn't happen the way that they depict themselves to be.
Right.
And not only that, the fact that they can show you a dinosaur bone from 100 million years ago, but they can't show you a so-called slave ship from 150 years ago, lets you know that the whole thing is a scam. And so we live. See, people say it's a corporatocracy. People say it's a technocracy. People say it's a pseudo-socialist, i.e. communist. They're trying to turn it all into that. What every government on the planet is run by is a kleptocracy, meaning that it's all run by criminals. And these criminals want to be able to suck all of the money out of you while at the same time plan on your demise. You see what I'm saying? Simultaneously. and then find a way to replenish you just to steal from you again.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
in order to do that, you have to come up with real fantastic lies and fantastic technology to help hide the fact that if they was to get rid of all this technology tomorrow, our generation would be just fine, because we remember what it was like before that. The only people that's going to be thrown off and really going to be that is the people that they have made dependent on that now, and it's less of them than it is of us.
right.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah,
they can't afford to do that because, again, you could bring all the immigrants you want over here. You understand? There's more guns in America than there is people. There's more bullets in America than there is any living being, animals.
right.
So we who were taught to not like our country, at the same time, we were also made privy, at least in my generation, made privy to what the difference between a republic and a democracy is. What the difference between a national and a citizen is. What the difference between a communist, a Marxist, a socialist, a Nazi is. Like, we know what that is. So
Yeah,
I don't have to like you as, let's say, a Caucasian man, if we just use that word to describe them. And they may
right.
not like me. However, they grew up in the same country I grew up in. So when we was watching Rambo and Red Dawn and Red Heat and all of these movies about anti-communism and The Day After and V and all of these types of propaganda stuff, it got us politically aware and politically savvy to understand how we were being taken advantage of, not just by our government, but all governments. So in essence, all governments on the planet are at war right now with their own citizens. That's why they're trying to replace them. That's why they're trying to turn them against their own historical nature. The only problem with any of that is that we're all here. And you can't get rid of everybody and then want to control everybody at the same time. You can't do both.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you can try to kill us with incrementalism, with all of the poison food, all of the heavy metals in the air, all of the fake black on so-called police shootings and all this type of stuff, whatever. But when you really get into all of this stuff, 90% of that stuff is a scam.
Yeah,
It's all another lie of Rome, which is falling. And Rome fell then to the same thing that is falling now with heavy immigration, illegal immigration, the denationalization of the people, the overarching propaganda, the depreciation of the monetary system. Like, these are the same things that any society in its waning bank is going to do that. So you could try to, for instance, put Trump in jail. You could do that. However, they're going to elect him. He's going to be elected. And the only way you're going to stop that is by trying to stop the election. But the problem is you can't do that. Because if you do that, now everything that he's been saying, you see, I'm just using him as an example.
right.
Everything that he's been saying, everything that we've been saying would then be automatically proven true. Which then means then that you have no power because nobody's going to listen to you. And anybody that does is going to get taken out. So they say, oh, well, China's going to come and China's going to take. China is in a worse place than America is right now. But we just don't know that because of propaganda. Right now, China, they in full revolt over there. The youth over there is in full revolt. They are tired of the social credit system. They tired of the automaton system. They tired of their babies being harvested for organs and shit like that. They tired of all of that. So they are openly rebelling. Right now in France, they have the people have taken over the French government. The people, the farmers, got all the manure from the farms and sprayed the government buildings where they can't even go into the government buildings no more because they're covered in feces. This is what's happening. Everybody's rebelling against this thing. The only people who think they not is the people in this country. So they think that they can turn off the internet, they can stop certain things, and because they sold California to China, basically, and they're trying to turn it into the first full communist state. They think that's going to work. But the problem is, again, is the fact that You got too many politicized people out there. You got too many gangs out there. You got too many people that know what it's like to be free. You understand? Or as free as possible.
Yeah.
Hollywood is over. They can't create anything new because of the diversity, equity, inclusion grift. That's a scam. Every movie they come out with has failed. So that means they can't use the entertainment industrial complex to mind control people anymore. That ain't working. People rather watch us on YouTube. People would rather watch us on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's more entertaining to watch people talk about movies than watch the movies themselves. So what does this mean? This means the power has come all the way back to the people. They just haven't realized it yet. And the reason why they don't is because they got people like us buck dancing and doing stuff like that to make them believe that these people are still in control. Biden doesn't run nothing. Biden is ran by the Democratic National Committee, and they are run by the CCP. And they are also in bed with the Mexican cartels, the WEF, the IMF, the what do you call it? The World Economic Forum. They're all in bed together, right? And they are all the ones who decide who's going to get sacrificed in order to create a better distraction, so that way they can start to move their stuff around, because there's no way out for them. Nobody is going to eat crickets. Nobody is going to eat bugs. Nobody is going to do the stuff that nobody is going to stop buying gas cars and all that. Even if you stop making gas cars, people will start to create their own. You got brothers that's powering cars with water.
Yeah.
You cannot break the human spirit and the design of wanting and yearning to breathe free, regardless of what you try to do. You could try to lock Trump up, but what you gonna do? So he gonna be in jail with the Secret Service? Because they gotta be in jail with him. If you take the Secret Service away from him, you know what's gonna happen? He gonna have the gang members holding him down. You know how much money Trump got? You understand? Like, they have boxed themselves into a corner. There's no way out for them. They are on the ropes. That's why they're pulling out all of the stops. They're trying to block the sun. That shit ain't working. We done already seen the second and third sun. The black sun is already manifested. Like this whole place has been automatically switched over. However, because they got people on a 15-minute attention span, they feel like they can continuously work the Matrix against them. But we already saw the Matrix 1, 2, and 3. We know how it plays out. We've seen the Terminator. We've seen all of this stuff. None of this shit is gonna work. So all you and I have to do is keep telling the truth, keep our bodies as pure as we can with water, stop engaging in pointless, meandering arguments with people who are obviously on the take. Understand that even, like I said, if this dude was to get locked up, once he gets elected, he's out. And once he gets out, that's it for everybody. You understand? Now, the opposite side of that could be, well, maybe they're doing this so that way to make him look like the hero, so that way when he comes out, he can really flip everything on everybody and all that. I don't think so. The reason why is because they don't have that much time to be worried, to be trying to work that angle out. They don't have the time. Time is against them. More and more people are waking up. More and more more and more people homeschooling their children. More and more people are conveying, finding new ways to make bread outside of what it is that they've set up for people to do. Nobody trusts Bill Gates. Nobody trusts the FDC, the FDA. Nobody trusts the CDC. Nobody trusts the World Health Organization. All of these 15-minute cities that they're trying to set up, right? None of that's going to work. They talked about the main branch. The main one that they're looking to pop it all off is what they call the NEOM over there in Saudi Arabia. That whole project is done. Matter of fact, the other day, half of Saudi Arabia, half of Dubai is underwater. Dubai is a fake city. That's a fake city. It's not even real. The building in the world called the Burj Khalifa over there. It's the tallest building in the world. You understand that these people, these idiots, built this giant monolith structure and it don't have no sewer system in it. So every day they got to pull up tankers and fill the tankers up with feces to take it out.
Oh, I know you're joking, right?
No, I'm
they don't have no
I'm
sewage.
dead ass.
They don't.
Yes.
Wait. They don't have no sewage.
No, there's no sewage in Dubai. There's no sewage in Dubai.
Then what do they do with it? They just dump it
They
dump it in the desert.
Listen to what I'm saying. They got to drive oil trucks up to the building, put
Right.
all of the feces and
Right.
the urine into the trucks,
Right.
and then drive them across the desert. And there's always traffic jams. And you know it'll be 110 degrees out there. So
Yeah.
when it get too hot for them to be in it, do you know how bad that smells?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
These people done created 20-lane highway, 20-lane streets, right? But here go the wild thing. They don't have no street lights like that. So not only do they not have no sewage, not only are the buildings thing, they're trying to build islands out there, right? They done built islands.
I've seen that. You're right.
But the problem is they dredge up all of the sea, all of the sand from the islands to create the islands above ground. Right. But what's happened? You can't build a foundation on sand, so all the islands are sinking.
Yeah.
Okay. They done destroyed all the marine life off the coast. It used to be a giant marine coral. Off the coast is done. So then what they say, we need more rain. So they went and purchased some weather altering technology. Turned it on and didn't know how to work it, and now the whole country flooded. Now the whole thing flooded.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
You know how many they've destroyed over $200 million, $1 million in luxury cars. They got a luxury car graveyard out there where they can't even do nothing with it. So the cars is all going to rot. This is what I'm saying. And they enslaving people out there. It's open slavery. So the question is,
I know about that.
Yeah. So the question is, why is India, why is Malaysia, why are African nations allowing their national citizens to go over there and become slaves? Why are they letting them do that? And these people we supposed to be descended from them people? No. No. We are our own people. We are our own people. We have our own genetic. We always been here. And that's what we have to accept. That the grass is not greener the way that they wanted to make us think. We are our own genetical Moorish American or American melanated man, Moorish American melanated woman. Your ancestors always been here. We was here when all of the continents was one. Where we could walk from here. Well, I could walk from Miami to Russia if I wanted. That's how long we've been here. And we was here before that. There's never been a time that we are in such a destitute state. But again, once you fall out the bed, once you what's the adage? They say once you fall out the bed, you can't fall no further. It's time to get up.
It's time to get up.
And now is the time when we getting up. So what do? They bombard us with the sexy reds and the puffies and all of this other type of stuff that has nothing to do with anything. All them people belong to them people. Them people was never down with us. All them people is related to the same people. They don't let nobody come into that's not related to them. Beyonce, the person they calling Beyonce, she's the 20th cousin removed to Queen Elizabeth. Beyonce is also related to Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie also related to Madonna. Madonna also related to Prince Charles. Prince Charles and them related to Jay-Z. You understand what I'm saying? All these people related because they all come out the same toilet. And that's the problem. They got us wanting to be them, and all they want to be is us. So, like I said, once we get to the understanding that we are what our forefathers and ancestors were today, and that we was not imported. I've heard people who call themselves scholars say that over 100 million Africans was brought over from the slave trade during the transatlantic slave trade. Do you have an atlas? Do you know that if 100 million people from the western portion of Africa was imported here, there'd be nobody in Africa today?
No, no.
And where these 100 million people went? All in the East Coast? That's what you're trying to say?
Wait, let me throw this in, because I got deep into it, man. I was like, they were arguing me down. Oh, we weren't here in America. Oh, we weren't here. And the Americas consist of the Caribbean, North America, South America, Central America, and Canada.
That's right.
All right, so hear me out. So I'm trying to hold ground. I'm not giving up. No, I'm not giving up an inch. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm telling him, now look, they showed me a short video of dots going from West Africa to the America. Little itty titty beanie weenie dots and big ass motherfucking dots like this. That must have been a motherfucking cruise line, nigga. How the fuck are you gonna do that shit? You feel what I'm saying?
At a time where it took 3 months, it took 3 to 4 months to even do that. Now, remember, these boats, they didn't have no toilets. They didn't have no running water. So you mean to tell me that you got these slaves, and then they show you that picture of the slaves in the graph, where they all stacked on top of each other, like styrofoam.
That never happened.
Like you could really ship people like that. Now here's the story on that. I did a video on this whole thing. That image, if you was to take the image of the slave ship like that, right?
Right.
And then you get the image of the central nervous system of the human body, you will see it's the exact same image. So the slave ship that they talk about is the central nervous system, which is why the slaves on the TV show always needed to get ripped in the back.
Yeah.
So that way the central nervous system would agree and make them identify with what they were being whipped to accept. You understand? It's all a Freemasonic code, because all these niggas work together to tell the same lie. And the lie is 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He came to make a Christian out of me and you, and none of that happened. First of all, Columbus was black. Matter of fact, his name wasn't even Columbus. His name was Cristobal Colon. And he was
buried here in the Dominican Republic.
That's right. His name is Cristobal Colon of the Colon family. The Colon family changed their name to the Colon or the Columbia family. This is why you get the District of Columbia, Columbia State University, Columbia Pictures. They also have a name. The American name is also Collins. That's why you have Collins Avenue here in Miami, because they're the ones who run the version in America. That they are part of the papal bloodlines. You have the Colons, the Orsini, the Braganza, the Orientales, it's a bunch of them, right?
What about the Medicis?
Yeah, they don't Medici, but they were Moors. They was Moors too. They was black too. Because this was because we was fighting our own people. You understand? We fighting our own people. But it's just that those aspects of us had Caucasian people that they were working with to increase their numbers against the rest of us who were more of them. So they had to create different ways of warfare. One of the ways of warfare was intelligence, to create what they call false flags, false stories. You see what I'm saying? To make you think that you was something that you wasn't. And then killing the elders that knew the difference. And then putting you in schools where they could give you the false Rockefeller education. So that way you could believe that all of that was the same. They sold the country between World War I and World War II. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was a communist. Okay, this nigga was not. He was basically a glorified Marxist, if anything. And he's the one that set up the social credit system and all of that other stuff that the Federal Reserve and the rest of these creatures from Jekyll Island set up. There's thousands of books on this.
Let me say this. I've also found that Franklin Delano Roosevelt got us into World War II.
Yes.
By pulling the warship back or whatever that they were, and allowed the Japanese to think that there's no protection for the Hawaiian Islands.
That's right.
And there it is.
Yeah, I believe they did that. They let that happen.
But he should be impeached for that because
they let that happen. If you lock Trump up, you don't open it up to lock up all these niggas. The first one you need to start with is Obama. Then go to Bush. then go to Clinton, then go to Carter, then go to all the rest of them. That's it. They've all been putting us in the trick bag since then, because it's a kleptocracy. It's run by criminals,
criminal organization,
thieves. That's when Prince talked about thieves in the temple. He talking about these people.
Right.
These things aren't even human like that. They don't even think the way that we think as human beings. That's why they're so able to try to get us to change our genetics, change your sex, change your this, change that. No matter what you are is not good enough. That's not how we're supposed to live. And anybody that feels that they can put on a dress one day and be something different is mentally ill. That's mentally ill. And that person needs psychological help. But guess what? The whole psychological industry, the whole psychiatric industry was another scam created by another pedophile named Sigmund Freud, who was also a rabid cokehead. You understand? Most of these people that are revered as the main ones who was doing all that were rabid drug addicts, were rabid pedophiles, were rabid rapists. You understand? That's why they was in this position. So they don't put nobody in position that they don't got no dirt on. You understand? You got to have some dirt on you for them to trust you. Because in the end, none of this is about virtue. This is about stealing. That's all it's ever been about. Stealing and blackmail. So once the Moorish Empire fell, and those Moors that wanted to hold on to what was left of it tried to preserve as much as they could, but they started to have to fight against they amalgamated children. You see what I'm saying? Who were now taking up different names for themselves. So instead of calling themselves Roman, they're going to call themselves French. They're going to call themselves Belgians. They're going to call themselves this. They're going to call themselves that. You understand? They're going to call themselves Britons. But to us, they was all Romans, because we've been fighting the same war against them since 70 AD. Excuse me, 70 BC. You understand? So when they talk about, the millennial reign, you'll see them talk about, the reign of Christ came and went. That was us. That was when we was running everything. That's when we brought them out of darkness. That's when we changed the physical diet of everybody in the world. Ask yourself this: how did oranges wind up in China? How did pumpkins wind up in Europe? You know what I'm saying? Like,
obviously, the more you went over there, man.
How did corn wind up in Germany? Like, why do they have all of these pictures of melanated warriors, melanated American warriors all throughout Europe, all throughout Germany, all throughout China, all throughout Japan? How come they got red, black, and green pyramids in China that the Chinese government say don't exist? See what I'm saying? Why is it today that the Japanese government to put out a call to melanated men from America to come over and have sex with their women to stop their population decline? I thought we was the worst thing in the world. I thought nobody wanted us. I thought the black women said we was nothing. But they wanted to pay you $75,000 a kid, a child. So I'm looking to set up some sort of agency to get brothers paid out there, so that way we can start to make something happen. You see when the devil closed the door, Allah opened the window. You know what I'm saying? When the window closed, he ripped the roof off. Like, there's no way to stop us from our ascendancy. There's no way. So all we got to do is last long enough to see it come and go. Think of how much shit we done seen in our lifetime. We done seen the blackout of 77. We done seen Nixon get kicked out. We done seen crack. We done seen 9/11. We done seen the Oklahoma bombing. We done seen the Gulf War, the Persian War, the Iraq War, the Afghan War. We done seen the Ukraine. We done seen We done seen the Israel War. We done seen it all. We done seen Tiananmen Square in China. We done seen the Fukushima disaster. We done seen Chernobyl, right? We done seen the fall of the Soviet Union. We done seen all that. And melanated people been through all of that like it never happened. Like it never happened.
They don't even pay it no mind.
We ain't even pay that no mind, man.
No.
I lived through
But
all of
look,
that.
look,
I
look.
lived through crack. I remember walking. I remember there was being so many crack vials on the street that you would walk and just hear them crunch under your feet. You understand? I remember when drug dealers was when the recession hit, when the drought hit, the drug dealers was paying the little kids to go and retrieve the crack vials so they could reuse them. We done created a whole industry out of our destruction, and we still here. You ain't never seen no crackheads die.
Right, right,
You know what I'm
right, right,
saying?
right,
The only
right,
people
right.
dying now is the people from fentanyl and all that. We done took about crack, methamphetamines, heroin,
Yeah. Hell,
cocaine,
right.
everything.
Crocodile. They got a drug called crocodile here that white folks are hooked on that
He said
motherfucker.
he got a
Like
joke
like
called
like 90
crocodile.
going
What?
north. Look, they got bones and shit showing through it. Man, like what the hell? How the hell
See?
and why the hell would you take
See?
that dumb shit?
See, the
And they
chickens
talk
that
about
came
us.
home to roost. You let us go through the crack thing, said we were criminals, super predators, all of that, right? You let it happen
Right.
to us. Now look what's happening to y'all. Now y'all
Yeah.
want to say it's an epidemic. Now y'all
Yeah.
want to say it's a crisis. Too late. We done moved on. We don't even do that no more.
Man,
We don't even do that no more. We barely smoke weed now. Like
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I done had an uncle that done had AIDS since I was 10. I'm 51. He's still alive. He's still alive. This nigga been dying from AIDS since I was 10. You understand?
Well, you know about that. What happened with that, man? Fauci had the
That's
cure for that
Fauci.
motherfucker,
That's
and
Fauci.
he just let it run.
See,
I'm
with
like,
the
man,
AZT, they took that nigga off the shelf. They let it die down, let everybody forget who he was, then brought him back out for the COVID thing. Now in another couple of years, niggas gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember I had COVID. Like that ain't nothing. There's nothing they can do no more. If we just take the stance
right?
that nothing that they are doing is going to work. I told this to people back when they thought the world was going to end in 2012. I said,
Right.
no, this is the calculated end of their civilization, not us.
There it is. There it is.
It's their end, not us. We can't
Right.
end. If you believe in the Almighty, all in all, there's no way that you can. For all you know, we are thought within that universal mind right now. So there's never a time that we haven't existed, will exist, or will continue to exist in one form or the other. That's why they done brought Terrence Howard out now to try to get us to wrap our minds now around the fact that all the science shit they taught us was fake, was a lie. So they got to get the nigga from Hustle and Flow.
Right.
You understand?
You know, that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, Terrence Howard, man. I was like, man, kind of blowing me away. And but that's going to be another show, right?
Right.
But because we only got like maybe 15 minutes left or somewhere around there. So
Yes, I gotta go.
I really wanted to concentrate in on Ukraine and what is going on with Russia, and more importantly, the connection between Rome,
Mm-hmm.
the Bank of England, and now DC with the military arm. What is going on in England with the banking, the finance, and what is going on in Rome, which would be the spiritual angle, I guess. I don't know how you want to.
So when they say,
but deal with Ukraine and what is going on with Russia to break down the global elite and how that plays a part, and then the whole thing about because DC, you don't even see DC on the map anymore.
yeah, because it's no longer
Go
there.
ahead.
Just like if you try to find BlackRock, the three main companies: BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. BlackRock is the new British East India Company. Vanguard is the new British West Indies Company. What you call it, State Street, that's the new version of the same old British, what you call it company, the other one. It was three of them. Anyway, those three money laundering factors were the first corporations, right?
Okay.
They are part of what they call the hundreds. Back when we was running the world, corporations weren't called corporations. They were called hundreds, okay?
Yeah.
So there's a book that you can get called the Book of the Hundreds that we sanctioned at the fall of the empire to make sure we always get the money that they was taking from us back. So Ukraine was already set up as a Nazi hub after World War II. So
Yeah.
when the real Nazis who was in the Thule Society, the black ones, right, under Mohammed Hassan and them,
Right.
when they was deposed and they put the Lippenspitzer, who is the white Hitler, the white version,
Right.
those Nazis started in Long Island, in Montauk Point.
Okay.
They shipped them over there and was funded by Prescott Bush in them.
Okay. Yeah.
Prescott Bush was there. Hugo Boss made the uniforms. Crooks and them built the ovens. Rockefeller and them built the tanks and the railroads. And them built the that's why when you look at the U.S. Army, go back and look at these old war movies. You'll see that the same tanks that the U.S. had and the same armored troopers that the Germans had and the Russians had was all the same. They all look the same, just with different paint on them.
Right.
Because they was all being paid by the same thing, because that was another fake war that they were using to depose what was left of the black original nobility that was running the world at the time. They used the yellow-skinned Japanese to get rid of all the Moorish sultanates, all in Southeast Asia and the Philippines and all of that, and replaced them with who's there now. So Ukraine, by the end of the war, that became one of the hotbeds of the Cold War. So you had the United States that had made deals that they would never invade Russia, but they would stay at a certain length. But of course, they violated that. And so Russia automatically was always against them. So what the United States started doing was setting up what they call pogroms in the Ukraine. And that's where they started laundering all of the money that they was funneling through the human trafficking and the sex trade and all of that. And then use that money and then started using that money to buy more and more children and stuff. So that way they could, start to sell them for the parts and all of that. So the Russians found out and then instituted a new government in Ukraine, right? That led in the 90s to the Bosnian Herzegovina War under this dude named Slobodan Milosevic, He was a puppet, but he was playing both sides. He was taking money from the United States and money from Russia and putting that money in Switzerland. You know what I'm saying? So they both wanted him out of there. Once they got him out of there, then they reactivated all of them Nazis and started bringing them up from Argentina back into the Ukraine. Once they got into Ukraine, they set up something called the Azov Battalion. That's all Nazis. That's who Zelensky. He's another trans dude. His father was synonymous in that. That's why they chose him to be the fake president. But you can go online and see him dressed up in high heels and stuff, dancing in disco. So, because he's an actor, he's a comedian, he's not even a real president. So they used Ukraine to funnel all of the money. And then once the money and the Nazis went up in there, that's when they started setting up all of the cloning tanks and the adrenochrome farms and all of that type of stuff. That's why they want to keep money going to Ukraine. Okay, that's why Russia is shutting all of that down. Okay, so all of those guys are descended from the same Khazarian so-called Nazis that went under Lord Balfour and set up the so-called state of Israel. You see what I'm saying? That's why the money is going to Israel and Ukraine. It's the same turncoat Russians and Khazarians running both places. And both of those are unofficial states of the United States. But the real United States is Washington, D.C., London City, the Vatican, and I always forget the last one. The Vatican and the other and
the territories, right? The territories.
Yeah. Well, Well, see, that's these United States.
Okay.
See, we're in this is America.
Okay.
Okay. America is the land, the continental United States. That's the whole. That's the land.
Okay.
The United States District of Columbia. When they say the United States, they're talking about the District of Columbia. Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. London City, Vatican City, and it's probably Tiananmen. It's probably Beijing now. They probably switched it, but I've always forget the last one. But those are the ones that's running in tandem. So those are the United States that the world is at war with. They
Right.
just got us thinking that the United States is the same thing as the American Republic, and it's
No,
not.
it's not. No, no, no.
That's why United States citizens are not technically Americans. But if you're
Right.
going to be an American, you can only be a United States citizen if you're a corporation or an EIN.
Right.
You
Right.
understand?
I understand. I understand. Yeah.
So it's all about, again, money, kleptocracy, stealing money. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So all of these guys are descended from those woodwolves, raised up Neanderthals that our dirty ancestors raised up through genetic
Right.
manipulation to
Right.
do all their dirty work for them. Then
Right.
they would act like they were being oppressed by them, and they would work together through the Freemasonic agreement.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was played out in the movie Django between Stephen and Carl Candy. If you remember, Stephen was the one signing all the checks.
Yeah.
Carl Candy was always the one buck dancing, but everybody thought Carl Candy was in charge because he was white.
Right.
When really Stephen was the one behind the scenes, running the family, doing that, butchering his own people, letting the white people destroy them. Because this is how they was able to maintain power against the rest of us. So that's who we really against. We really at war with the Boule, with the black Freemasons, with the black Easter Stars, with the black sororities, with the fraternities, the occult societies. This is the ones that look like us, the ones that act like they not in charge. They are really the ones that's also really running interference and low key above a lot of these white ones. We think it's the white man.
Right.
But remember, to play checkers, you got to have a black square and a white one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they got to work together.
Right.
You got to work with both to get past all of the defenses. So that's how they got us blind. That's why they want us to believe in black supremacy. That's why they want us to believe in white supremacy. That's why they want us to believe in colorism. That's why they want us to constantly think that we from Africa, we something else, because our ancestors was the only ones in the world who controlled it all and fought against all of them. Back when we was called Phoenicians, when we was called Canaanites, we was called Phoenicians, we was called Carthaginians, we was called Numidians, we was called Fomorians, we was called Parthenians, we was called Phrygians, we was called all of these different names. But if you don't know that them names is you, they'll just put a white person face on it, and you think that it's always them, and it never was.
No.
They want us to believe that we came from Lucy, right? They say Lucy, the African person, the African woman they found in Lucy. No, Lucy was an ape. So this is another way that they lampoon you. Lucy was a hominid. She was an ape. Matter of fact, they showed the movie. They created a movie to let you know that they playing you with that. No, we are descended from if anything, from the original man over here, who they found out that his DNA, a black man from South Carolina. Right. They done found his DNA go back over 385,000 years.
I heard and I seen a
From
black guy whose DNA went back 300,000 years.
385,000. So you know.
Oh, okay. We're talking about the same one. Okay.
Yeah. That man. I talked to one of his relatives recently from the Perry family. That's from one family in South Carolina.
Okay.
Then when they found the Guadalupe woman here in South America, her DNA go back over 1 million plus years, right? So that means then that if they found a woman that long, that means that they done found us that long. You see, the black man that long. But see, they want us to believe that they're trying to make the so-called black woman believe that she could just have babies now without sperm. She could just open her legs and just Parthenius and then create babies. You ain't never seen that. Just like you ain't seen no man come back from the physical death. So this is all some shit you believe. But if you believe something, that means you don't know.
You don't.
Because once you know something, you can't believe it.
Right. They got it. Faith consists of believing and knowing. I know I can tie my shoes because let me take that back. I have faith that I can tie my shoes because I know. And the reason why I know is because I believe. When those two things come together, it's unbreakable.
Put it like this. You know your parents, right?
Right.
You don't believe your parents.
No.
You see what I'm saying? You know how to go to the bathroom. You don't believe how to go to the bathroom. You just do it. So you know that. but you can believe in Jesus. You see,
Right.
you can believe in Allah. You can believe in certain things because you don't know.
You don't know. There it is.
See, because man knows not from being told. He only knows what he knows based upon his experience and what he has been able to interact with. So everything else is a scam. Everything else is propaganda. So again, this is why they want black women to always be in the church. This is why they want black women to believe in white supremacy. Believe that your hair won't grow if you just leave it alone. Believe that this white man is better than your own man. Believe in the welfare system and all that, so I can control you. The black man been done got away from that. He knows.
He knows.
The black man knows that this thing is a scam. That's why he ain't bothering with it. But he knows that if he goes to the female's ego and props her up because she always wanted to be like the white woman that he propped up, right? That he can run the whole world. He can run me and the children because of her, because regardless to how much brainwashed she is, we still want her. We still want to create ourselves through her. The same way he do, but he want to create mutations out of her. We want to create gods and goddesses out of her. But she don't feel worthy at this stage based upon the fact that she's fallen so low. But it can only be us to bring her back up because that's what she did for us. That's the whole story of Isis and Osiris.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But no, they want us to believe in Jesus and shit. So
we got a couple of minutes. I wanted you to wrap it up and sum it all up. But one of the other things that I wanted to, if you can kind of like blend it all in, that America doesn't consist of 50 states. That's one. That it only consists of the 13 colonial property that King James, who was black, started. And then we go into the closing comment that you may want to talk about. And man, look, I appreciate you coming on, but this ain't enough. I'm still hungry.
We'll be back.
I'm hungry.
We'll be back. We'll be back, man. You already know.
So, man. But hey, God willing, and we are able, and we stay true to our ancestors and the connection of our roots. Because I always say, when you know the past, you can understand the present and predict the future. It's not very difficult because history repeats itself. We civilize these uncivilizable animals that try to act like humans.
That's right.
3 times. Once in Egypt, once in Greece and Rome, and now. You know what I mean? So, like in baseball, what did they say in baseball? Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, you're out. You know, you know what I mean? Ain't no more. And we're going to get all up in that ass because just like Gaddafi said, and it's happening now, he said, if you kill me, you'll be opening the door to all of hell for all of eternity. And now look at all them brothers coming in there. And there was, I don't know if you had the opportunity to see Eva Volodinger Broke or something like that. She made the comment and the statement and the whole story of white supremacy and how she needs to save Europe. Like, bitch, don't you know Europe belongs to the black man?
So I'm saying.
What the hell are you talking about?
All ours, all 196,940,000 square miles of the earth itself is ours because we was here. We the ones tended it. We the ones broke it up. We the ones dredged the canals. We the ones turned the rivers into oceans, the oceans into lakes and everything else. We done done it all. So much so we done forgot. So essentially, that's really where we're at. We're at the stage now where things about to get turned back over and people don't want to deal with it. However, they're not going to have a choice. So what we got to do
white
is
folks
bear
losing
down.
their damn mind, man. They lose. I want to let me say Tamahu, the Yulu.
Tamahu, that's
losing their damn mind.
Magunza.
No, but they have no choice, bro. You know what I mean? They have no choice.
Yeah.
So, but let me throw this in, and you can go into the closing comment. Angola, through their domination by Portugal for about 250, 300 years, they changed it. They turned it around. And through the wealth of Angola, they made Portugal its playground, economic playground, and a political playground. And the Angola elite are going to Portugal doing what the fuck they want to do, how they want to do it.
That's why they're doing it now. That's why you got all of these dirty Moors and dirty Africans going up into Spain and all of that again, just like they did back in the days. Only thing difference now is they letting them in because of the weak political structure, the liberal, Marxist, socialist, Democrats and stuff. Within another 5-10 years, Britain is going to be run by a number of Muslims. They're going to turn that whole shit
Yes,
over.
there it is. There it is.
And they're going to be the ones we're going to have to contend with, because that Sharia law shit, all that shit crazy. Like, they the ones who did that, you know? Yeah, that's essentially what's happening from the times of Angola, and even now. Like I said, the time come where the foot become the head. And like I said, when you're sleeping on the floor, you can't fall out the bed. So all you can do is get up. You see what I'm saying? Make the bed, go out, start a new day. And that's where we're at. It's just that, like I said, people don't know history. People are taught what they want to believe history is. They want to be Indians. They want to be Africans. They want to be everything else but what their nationality as Americans really was. And Pan-Africanism, that's another scam. Right. All of that's a scam. All of that, where you're born is not where you're from. That don't apply to us. That only applies to people that was brought over here. They were brought over here on slave ships. They called that the immigrants. They called them the immigrants. They brought all of them over here on slave ships because they had all been freed by the black czars of Russia at the beginning of the 1900s. Because those was all Moors. Those was all Moors running that. Peter the Great, Tsar Nichols, all of that. That's why they wound up killing all of them. And they created a Reconstruction history once Lenin and Stalin and them got in there. Karl Marx was black. Stalin was like
Talk about it. Come on. Talk about it.
And they was working with these amalgamated Caucasians that they had been raised up because that was part of the Freemasonic agreement and the deal with the devil that they made to make them the decoys while they went behind the scenes and did everything else. So that way they could be right amongst us, talking and doing whatever, act like undercover. Like the undercover, like the movie Black Klansman. Like he acted like he white and all of that and coming amongst the black people. And meanwhile, he going COINTELPRO and telling the white man everything he need to do. J. Edgar Hoover was a Moor. He was melanated. He was also a homosexual and transvestite, right? Ike Eisenhower, he was black.
Eisenhower, yes.
You know what I'm saying? All these people was melanated.
Yeah, even Calvin Coolidge, as pale as he was, Calvin Coolidge.
Hannibal Hamlin,
he was black.
James Madison, Washington's grandfather was a Moor, a French Huguenot Moor named Nicholas Maritou. I did a whole video on this. Right. History of George Washington. That white man that we see there, those was eunuchs. That's a whole play. Thomas Jefferson was another light-skinned black man. You understand? Insane, enslaving his own people to go along with the story. That's how committed these niggas was.
Right.
So
let me throw this in because we got like 3 minutes, and then you can wrap it up with a comment. The slave ship, there are none, because the ship had motors. The motor ship didn't come about until 1804, and it really didn't evolve until about 1820. So what the fuck are they talking about? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And this is people who couldn't read, couldn't write. They had just come out the dark ages. How they learn how to fly? How they build all these Spartanian and barbarian buildings? How did they have all this technology? They got it all through the Library of Congress and through the patents that was already put in there by the people that look like us.
And we taught them.
Yeah,
we taught them.
Then once we taught them, they killed us. Then they created a school where now they could now teach our children, because now we was all committed to the insane asylums, to the Moors Indian charity schools, to the orphanages, to the prisons, to the chain gangs, right? So when you see them pictures in the book, 100 Years of Lynching, and you see them, all of them original people, all them black men and black women being lynched, those wasn't slaves. Those was doctors, mayors, emperors, kings, queens, braves, heads of confederacy, heads of state. They just said that this nigga was a slave. They just said that was this, but that was probably the mayor of Georgia. That was probably the emperor of the Cherokee Nation. You don't know. They just brought these people over here and then put them in position and say, you got to get rid of them if you want to stay here. And that's what they did. But the people who put them in position to do that look exactly like us. Jacob Astor was melanated. The Astor family was melanated. Krause and them was melanated. That's why they killed them with the Titanic.
But there's an old saying that goes, only a black powerful army can beat a black powerful army.
Thank
Ain't
you.
white folk done. Ain't white folk
They
done
ain't never
nothing.
win nothing. They run
Nothing.
around this place, but they don't run nothing.
Yeah. But and then I made a comment too, and we're gonna wrap it up. Got about 2 minutes. That I would say that Hannibal of Carthage could have won if not for the fact that a black brother helped this white guy.
Massinissa. I did a whole video on that. It was
Yeah.
Massinissa because Hannibal promised Massinissa that he was going to allow him to marry his niece, but then some shit happened politically, and he wound up marrying the niece off to another Carthaginian. And so Massinissa took that personal, then went up to Scipio Africanus, a light-skinned black man, and then worked with them to get rid of that. And in response, once Carthage fell, Massinissa was able to be the only Roman in state to wear a purple palliament to display the fact that he was actually from the original continent, and these Romans was now letting him have a vote in the Republic. Yeah, so these books you could get. The 13th Tribe by Arthur Koestler, Iceman Inheritance, Michael Bradley.
Yes. Talk about it, man. Come on.
Chosen People of the Caucasus, Michael Bradley. The Forgotten Cause of the Civil War by James R. Tenzar. Wars in Barbary by Chidzi. Anacalypsis by Gerald Massey, volumes 1 and 2. Consecrated Talismans, volumes 1 to 3. Golden Age of the Moor by Ivan Van Sertima. The Story of the Moors of Spain, Story of the Moors After Spain by Stanley Lane Poole. Othello's Children in the New World, Jose Clemente Bay. Sex and Race, volumes 1 to 3, J.A. Rogers. Superman the Man, J.A. Rogers. Nature Knows No Color Line, J.A. Rogers. Who else? When Nations Gather, Sultan Abdul Latif. The Diplomatic Relations Between the United States and the Barbary Powers by Irwin. Who else? Was a good one. OS Economicus. Get that by Prince Uriel Bey. There's another one. There's another good one. Voodoo, The Quantum Leap. I forget who wrote that. Who else? Outer Gateways by Kenneth Grant. Saga America by Barry Fell. America BC by Barry Fell. Unexplained Faces in Ancient America, Alexander von Ruthenau. Ancient and Modern Britons, David McRitchie, volumes 1 and 2. Circle 7 Quran, compiled by the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Definitely get that. And who else? Pirate Utopia. Definitely get that. That's a real good one. That's a small book. Heavy knowledge in that. What else? Golden Trade of the Moor by Beauville. And what's another one? For a story about the Moors, get a book called Candide by Voltaire. Read that.
Okay,
Because
well, listen, man,
Westphalia, that's all about the Moors.
Yeah, I know you gotta go, man. I want to keep you for about 2 more hours. Yeah.
Thank you. So anybody wants to holler at me, hit me up at houseofella@hotmail.com. I sent the brother.
Yeah. And your YouTube channel, you got a YouTube channel, and you on X, right?
Yeah, IseerTheDuke-of-Tears.com. You can check that out on YouTube. It's Iseer the Duke of Tears. Tears is Tiers, as in levels. And go on, check that out. You can check me out on YouTube. Please subscribe. They finally let me pass 50,000 subscribers after shadow banning me and repressing my page for over 10 years. So I'm reaching that. Definitely check that out. I also have a app where you can go on to Apple.
Yeah, I see that.
Google Play Store. It's called the A. app. Capital A, capital D, capital O, capital T app on Google Play and Apple Play. Please subscribe. It's great. I update it periodically. I'm gonna be able to do lives through there so they can't interrupt my feed and all of that. And definitely check out www.cordobaorganics.com for all
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
skincare,
Your wife is hot on
everything
that one,
needs.
man.
It's
Yeah.
excellent. I couldn't do it again. Honest to my queen, honest to my wife, Selena Nigel Cordoba L. I couldn't do anything without her. And again, my children and
Yeah.
y'all children, man. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
upholding the melanated family. We got. The end is not yet. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
It's
we're
just
winning this
beginning.
thing. You know what I'm saying? We're winning
Right.
this thing regardless of how
Right.
it look.
Right.
Love each other, support each other. Definitely
Right.
please support the brothers channel. And again, man, we'll do it again. Anybody
Okay.
wants to holler at me, hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com.
houseofl@hotmail.com. Let me throw this one at you. You might be able to I appreciate it because my kids, I have a 1-year-old who just now finishing. I'm a 1-year-old. I have a 6-year-old who just now finished first grade, but he's doing third grade math and science and other things with this app
Mm-hmm.
or this course. And then when I tell you, man, it makes me want to do homeschooling
Yeah, that's
because
what I'm doing, Lord.
he's
That's
just
what I
off.
did with my
Oh,
child.
okay, yeah, he's just off the chain.
If you
So
can do it, do
check
it.
it out. Yeah, check it out. It's called the letters Illinois X-Ray Larry, IXL.com.
If
And
you
when I
can't
tell
text
you,
it to me,
man, yeah, yeah, I send it to you in the WhatsApp. But
okay.
man, yeah, it's burning. And my pre-K is damn near doing first grade math, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right. It's better.
If the parent don't know shit, you know
Find
how
a
it goes.
way. That's all we can do.
Yeah, yes, sir. You're either gonna bless your kids or you're gonna curse them.
That's right.
And I prefer to take the time and the energy and all of that to bless my children with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. There it is.
There
But
it is.
again, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm looking forward for you to be on to get into even deeper
We
parts of
will.
what we weren't able to cover. And man, stay black. That's all I can tell you.
Islam.
You know what I mean?
Stay Moorish.
Peace.
Let's
And
do it.
yeah, let me do the outro, and then we'll cut out after that for about a couple
Islam.
more seconds. Hold on. So yeah, but I said thank you, and I'm looking forward to having you on, and I'll keep in contact with you, and you just let me know when you're available. All right?
Will do. Long live the
All right.
empire.
Peace.
Love to the Moors.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
All
salam,
right.
brother.
Peace. Stay black.
Islam. Stay Moorish. Peace.